Hello everybody and welcome to the Algarve for round 3 of the OGRL Coffee Cup this season. We are back once again with season 4 and a great field of cars once again ready to race again for another round of the championship. After the Bend Motorsports Park 1 week ago in mid-Ohio the week before that. Myself, Ewan and James Parfitt bringing you the action here today. And yeah, this is going to be unusual. I think the Algarve is an unusual circuit, to be honest. Portimao here in the south of Portugal. So unsure really as to how this one's going to go, but it's certainly going to be a circuit everyone's a bit more familiar with than the Bend Motorsports Park, only because that was the newest circuit in our racing. Still not one, though, that everybody's going to be totally comfortable with, though, I don't think.
No, it's not one that you generally see on people's calendars that often, to be blatantly honest. And I think that this could be an interesting one. I've driven around here before. I drove around here in Gen 2 supercars, and that was very, very interesting. But I think this could be a little bit spicy for some of these guys, especially if they haven't done much practice here or anything like that. We're just about to go into quali, so keep your eyes out and see what's going to happen. But we do have the scores if you need to.
Yeah, let's have a look at them, shall we, quickly before qualifying really gets underway. It will take them a while to get round, of course, on an outlap round here in any case. After 2 rounds of the championship so far in the pros, Brian Faluna is leading the way, just a point ahead of David Van Roy and Tim Probert, who have been up there with him in these first 2 rounds quite nicely. Bradley Lovings is only 10 points back, and then Hayden Young 15 back. And then Tom Bryce. Then you've got all those who were at Mid-Ohio but weren't at the Bend Motorsports Park, and plenty of those who haven't seen so far today, this season, who I'm sure we will for the rest of the season. In Pro-Am, Cody Pont is leading the way by a point ahead of Quentin Price. Justin Dusvace is 9 points further behind Upeno Hanno next. In fact, all the top 10 were all here last time out. So it's all pretty close all the way down, including Alexander Claudio and Brad Tidwell, who are tied on points there in 5th place. So, yeah, it's all very close there. In the AMs as well, Heath Hollinger's leading by only a point out of John Gardner, with Michael Vester and Justin Vase race rounding out the top 4, covered by just 6 points. It's very close there as well. So, yeah, looking good so far, but we've only had 2 rounds. There's going to be 12. It's not quite going to be like the monster season we had for Season 2, but there is 12 rounds. And so can't read too much into those standings, to be honest, just yet. It's still going to be very close by the end.
Yeah, it's still early days, isn't it? Let's be real. I'm not overly worried about them before a minute. By the time we get to round 6 or 7, we might have a look and think, oh, this could happen and that could happen. But at the moment, dude, we're too early in the season to worry about it. So I think for now, just get these guys out on the racetrack, get them doing their best and seeing who comes out on top. And whether or not there's going to... Ooh, Julian Reese, big snap in that Mustang. And we'll have a look and see how it all goes on.
Yeah, we will as the guys just complete their outlaps. Dustin Dusvace out there very quick and will lead the field around. He's already on a lap in a Ferrari, a Pro-Am driver, who will be first across the line a little bit later on. Plenty of drivers are going to wait to go a little bit later on. Tim Probert not out there yet, neither is Brian Dukowski, Ryan Merriam or Britt Basil. Billy Backer has not quite left the pit lane yet though either, although he is about to now, so he will wait a little while. But yeah, we've got a number of drivers waiting as we always do. I think we don't have Lovings and Alfie Nichols though waiting later on, so we do have some drivers who will keep us entertained later on in the session, but not the usual suspects this time.
No, I think that's the thing. Obviously, we knew it was going to be difficult during summer months, right? It always is. If you're running leagues, trying to keep up, keep up numbers is always tough. And that's why a lot of leagues don't actually run during the summer months. They jump to September, finish at July, jump to September. It's a lot easier. That 6 to 8 week period makes it, makes it handy when people are here and not away. And then it just happens. I don't think it's anything worth worrying about. Yeah, that's a bit of a drop from what it was last week. But I think at the end of the day, it will all pick up as the season goes on once we hit the end of September, when all the kids go back to school and summer holidays are over. And as you're a parent, you will completely understand what I mean about you can't wait for the kids to go back to school already.
Yeah, well, see, just don't have kids. That's easy.
Yeah, could have told me that 25 years ago.
It's too late now.
Too late, mate.
Yeah.
I'm 5 deep, you know what I mean?
Yeah, see that? You could have stopped after one.
What? Yeah. This is also true, but we ran out of electric. I'm not quite sure what you expect me to be doing.
Mostly going to keep yourself entertained, I suppose.
Exactly.
Anyway, yeah, it's summer, as you say. It is summer, and so these things like to happen. Believe it, Dan Svorik's actually just turned up, so we might have 28 now, actually. And hopefully he waits a little while, because we've already got some of those who waited a little bit already out there on the circuit. So it could be a quiet last few minutes as the first times come in. The 3 laps themselves take 5 minutes, plus the outlap probably takes about 7 minutes overall. That's less than half of this session. But if you remember last week, back to the Ben Motorsport Park, we really weren't talking about this at all. It was constant drivers on the circuit, and pretty much from start to finish, to be honest, because the lap time, don't forget, last week was nearly 3 minutes. You don't see that kind of thing very often.
No, that's because it was so long. It was like every part of the racetrack at the bend could have been covered, to be honest. But this one's a little bit more sensible. 1 minute 42s, and I think we'll be all right, and these guys will carry on and see how they get on. Cheney leading the top of the way at this moment in time as well, and Brian Faluna has got a nice little purple as he's coming over the line right near the end.
He will go pole as well, I think, for that time. There you go, 41s for the first time, 41.9. 4/10 of a second quicker than Cheney and David Van Roy, who's in third place. Well, Van Roy's having a good start to the season, isn't he? 1 point behind Brian Faluna coming into this race. Don't forget, it's 1 point per position, so that's effectively 1 position that he's further behind. But these times are going to come tumbling now because the tyres are going to start to warm up. Not the warmest track temperature, actually, considering we're in the south of Portugal. It's only 22 degrees on the circuit, but that's because it's 20 past 2. I'll get it right eventually. 20 past 8. Dear me. In the evening. So the sun's very much on its way down. And Ben Roy goes half a second quicker, I'd imagine, and Cheney goes a bit quicker as well. I'd imagine, though, Faluna's going to go quicker again in a moment, and he will jump back to the top, I would imagine.
Yeah, he's sitting in second place at the moment. He's on his way round the right-hander on their way down into what is aptly named Craig Jones before they go on the run up into Portimao. But we'll keep an eye out, see how it goes. Alexander Claudio is out on the racetrack at the moment, setting some greens on the board and a purple in the final sector. So that's going to bump him up just a line to 4th place. A good job. Quinton Price is coming towards the end of his lap and goes over the line as well. Cody Bont down in 8th place at the moment. It's also got some greens on the board. So is Hayden Young, but I think that's Hayden Young's first outlap. And Brian Faluna, of course, is there.
Yeah, he's going quicker again. Is Faluna not too far behind that Porsche we just watched over the line there of Cody Bont? Hayden Young is pretty close about with Faluna as well. He's not set a time yet as Young, but he goes to 8th place now. That's his first time. We'll have to wait for his later ones. That's a big time from Faluna. 0.1. 41.1, just under 3 seconds quicker than Ben Roy, and it will be Cheney just after him as well. So 2 more times here from those other 2 pros to try and pass Faluna. This is their last lap of the session, and Ben Roy started well. Look at that on the bottom of your screen. Purple first sector for David Van Roy. Not great through the middle, but he did have the purple one previously through there, so it might, even though it's not an improvement on this personal best, it might not be that bad. Here he comes over the line. No, it's not going to be pole. It's going to be a bit quicker, but not pole. There you go, 41.3. In the background, Jeremy Cheney comes over the line. He's going to be very close to the time of Ben Roy, and he's going to get ahead of Probert, I think, and only 200ths of a second behind Ben Roy as Probert moves up to 4th place. Probert still with 2 laps to go, by the way, as Brian Faluna will have to set the benchmark for Tim Probert to beat, and Hayden Young and all the others as well.
Yeah, Faluna's looking very, very quick indeed, dude, and I think he's doing a great job this season, and it's going to be tough for people to keep up with him, but I am interested to see how this man gets on. Ryan Merriam in that Porsche at this moment in time still hasn't got a time on the board, and we've only got 7 minutes remaining, so keep an eye out on Ryan Merriam and whether or not he will put a time on the board here.
He should do, and you'd expect him to go pretty quickly, as Faluna again is going pretty quickly here in the middle sector. So too much to watch at the moment. Young goes over the line. Faluna will do the same, and Merriam in a moment as well. Young goes up to 5th place. He's got 1 more to come. Over the line for Faluna, 41.0. There's your benchmark for the rest of the field, including Merriam, who's still got 2 to go. He's just over a second behind. There is Young. He has got 1 more left. Where's Probert? He's coming up towards the line, actually, at the end of his second lap time right now as well. So It's another one of these classic OGRL sessions where there's sort of a ramping up of the times, and all throughout the session we've got excitement and stuff to watch. Tidwell moves up to 4th. That's the end of his session, and he might well have taken pole in the Pro-Ams even after Claudio's great driving early in the session. Looks like he's just been bumped down at the end here as Probert now comes up towards the line. Where is he going to get to here, Tim Probert? That's going to be 4th, just in front of Tidwell, and he's now got 1 lap to try and pass Faluna. So has Hayden Young, who will be next over the line, just in front of Ryan Merriam here in the other Porsche.
Yeah, Carl's time's coming in thick and fast. See, this is why I like open quali. Because we wouldn't have, we could see them all out on the track at the same time and we'd see them fighting it out and things like that. And I like open quali. I think this closed quali doesn't really excite me, but I think these guys at the moment, it's just keeping an eye on where they are on the racetrack. Hayden Young should be the first one, then Ryan Merriam after. So we'll keep an eye out on these guys, see how they're going to get on, and we'll find out who's going to be able to take this pole position, if anybody's going to be able to take this pole position away from Faluna.
It's a bit wide from through that hairpin there for Young, and through the final corner. He is not maximising it too much. I'm not sure this is going to be much quicker, to be honest, from Hayden Young as he goes over the line. It might be. He might just move up a few places because there's a lot of guys very close together there, by the way. Merriam over the line. That's a good time. 2nd place, and Merriam's got 1 to go. Unlike Hayden Young, who doesn't, and neither does Tim Probert. Here you can see that Merriam has got 1 more to go. This could be massive for the story of pole position in this race. Brian Dukowski is also completing his session alongside Probert at the moment in 5th place. Dukowski is currently 19th and needs to go a very long way to overtake Brad Tidwell here with this lap time. But Probert now has just got this lap to go. I think it'd be a huge improvement for him to join Merriam on the front row with Faluna, to be honest, but it's not out of the realms of possibility at all. Here he comes up towards the line then, Tim Probert. Can he do it at the very end? It's going to be close. He's going to be ahead of Merriam, but oh no, he's not quite. Very close. He's 3rd place, Tim Probert.
Yeah, great job from him as well. Nice little rundown towards the end there. Dukowski still out on the racetrack. Ryan Merriam has got another green on the board in the Porsche here. Ewan, is this going to be a last lap snatch of pole position away from Faluna?
Could be. He's only 10th and a half or so behind Brian Faluna at the moment. Is Ryan Merriam. There's that 2nd sector time. He's improving personal best again. Those sectors looking good. Best sectors of his day so far, and they are, quicker in the 1st sector than Faluna, slower in the 2nd, so it's right in the ballpark. He's got to go better, though, again, in that final sector. Otherwise, it's all hopeless here. He's got to do better in that final sector than what Faluna did a few moments ago. Through the final corner now for Ryan Merriam. He comes up towards the line. Is it going to be pole? It could be. Is it enough? It is. A 41-0, and right at the very end of the session, Ryan Merriam takes pole at the Algarve.
Oh, wow. Stunning. Stunning. Don't really know what we can say about that young man. Wow. By 400ths of a second. Like minuscule amounts. Love seat. That's where it gets excited with close quality.
Yeah, well, exactly, yeah. It's very much created by these guys running out there on their own, choosing to go later. If they all powered out straight away, it wouldn't be anywhere near as exciting. But thankfully, they all do bide their time a little bit. Although they have left these final 2.5 minutes open, so that is a bit unfortunate. Nicholas Marshall, the only driver actually not to have completed his 3 lap times. On his 2nd lap, he just went back to pit lane after getting an off-track in his 1st qualifying lap. And so he doesn't appear in that 28 driver list you can see on the left-hand side. Peter Castledine, the last driver to set a time, and he's currently in 27th. 49.0 is not necessarily representative of what he might be able to do, and same for Scott Carlson, actually. And there's 46.2. I would imagine he'll be able to go a little bit quicker than that. But it's noticeable that the spread of the field, even taking those two out of the equation, going back to Jim Sawyer, the gap 3.3 seconds back to him. That's a pretty big advantage, really, and shows the difficulty of this circuit.
Yeah, it definitely does. And that's the thing. The circuit is tough. I don't know if you've ever driven here before.
I have, yeah.
And it is a tough circuit, and that's what that's what we know it as. And at the end of the day, these guys are going to have to see how they get on. The Kasseline, Carson, Sawyer, Reese, Vesta, Hanold. It is going to be difficult. You do need to practice here. That's the problem. And if you don't, you could be in trouble.
Yeah, and there's a number of reasons. We always spoke about the summer holidays and whatever, but people don't have time to generally for whatever reason and so on. So it is tricky to easier said than done, certainly, to practice around here. Also, you just get circuits that you don't really click at as well. And I find, from the little bits of driving around here that I have done, it is difficult to find your rhythm generally around this circuit. When it's not going right, then it's really not going right around this circuit. And that is a real problem when you can't find that rhythm. I don't think you're ever going to get it really around this circuit because it's so stop-start. There's no real flowing corners at all. They're all quite sharp corners. Even turns 1 and 2, which are sort of more flowing corners, even those are quite sharp, and you can't really get a rhythm through that.
Yeah, it is a very flow circuit. If you don't get it right, you are going to be in trouble. So I think for now, you do have to make sure that you're getting this all in one go. And it isn't easy by any sorts of imagination, especially running out Torre Vip all the way through Samson, Craig Jones up through Portimao, and then back down, back up to Sagres. And that final corner, well, that is a little bit of a rascal, especially as it's over the hill and dropping down the other side. So, all to play for, but we'll see how these guys get on. As we've got the grid. Oh, no, we ain't, because we've got 5-minute warm-up here as well, before we go into the race, of course.
And I think they just put that... Did they shuffle that session on a bit quicker so that so they can get on with this? The qualifying was clearly done. But warm-up now begins. And the drivers, get used to having other cars around them again, as they're about to for the next 55 minutes as well. It's going to be more of an ordeal having that many cars around for the next few rounds, by the way. This is the real last of the big Grand Prix circuits and the more conventional GT3 circuits that we've seen throughout the last few weeks. Next week is Belle Isle. The Nürburgring Grand Prix circuit is the week after that. That's quite tight and twisty. Then Zolder, even more tight, tight chicanes and whatever. Barcelona, quite difficult to overtake around there. Pretty tight at Indy as well for round 8. Then you get to Manicourt, again a Grand Prix circuit where it starts to open out a little bit more. Bathurst as well, faster circuit for Hungaroring, another Grand Prix circuit, and ending the season at Sebring as well. It's a very distinct characteristic, I find, from round 4, which is next week, round to round 8 at Indy Road. Those 5 tracks in a row are all fairly similar in characteristics of relatively narrow and hard to overtake on.
Yeah, and that's what I mean when they come across ones like that. They've got to be really, really sensible. When you look at the difficulties of things like that, you need to turn around and kind of say to yourself, what have I got to do here? And one of them, the prime one, may be just to kind of survive. That's what you've got to do. You've got to try and survive at places that are tight and twisty and walls and not a lot of room. And then you come to these big wide circuits. And is that rain we've got going on here?
I don't know. I can't see the stream anymore. It's been minimised. So I don't know. But nobody in the timing has said they're on wet tyres, unless they're just braving out.
Yeah, I do wonder.
Drives, I've got no idea.
All right, hold on. Try that.
Yeah. It's not right. Oh, no, minimise again. What are you doing?
Nothing. I ain't doing it. This is the problem. I click off it and it kills it. Oh, hold on a minute. I got another idea. I will get it up and running. 2 seconds. Very bizarre.
So, I don't know if they've seen something as well.
Maybe, but right. Now I'm getting insane amounts of stuttering. Scary from somewhere random. As well. Morning, guys. Good luck to everyone today. Excited for this one today. Broadcasting the live at work. Oh, great. That's when we started having problems. Much love, Tarina. Stacey, good morning to Ryan. Amazing. Good morning. How are you? Why all of a sudden has it gone like a picture book? What?
It's going to be like that for the start of the race in this case. When all the cars are together. That's pretty.
But it's never. It shouldn't be doing this.
It says very lightly wet apparently in the session at the moment for the drive. So you are correct. There was a little bit of rain around. Don't think. Yeah, there you go. Very lightly wet. You can see it on the right hand side. Don't know that we were expecting this or how much of the race is actually going to be taken on in these conditions. But if it starts like this, for example, I would be tempted to start on the dry tyres because actually this is so lightly wet. You might as well just carry on. The problem with it being at the start of the race, of course, is that you start the race with cold tyres, and that's worse in the wet conditions, that's for sure. If you've got warm tyres, the middle of the race, and it's only drizzling like this, it's fine. But starting the race in these conditions is very difficult on cold dry tyres.
Yeah, exactly, and that's the thing. They need to somehow try and get these up to temperature, and I'm not really quite sure how they're going to be able to do that off the line so quickly. To be blatantly honest with you, it's going to be very, very difficult indeed. So I'm going to be very interested to see how they do this. Driving now, so no one saw. Oh, okay, Torino, that's good. Thank you.
Checkered flag will be out in warm-up, and we'll be able to show you the grid in a moment as this session draws to a close. Brian Faluna was out there being quick again as he got himself ready for the race, but noticeably over 10 seconds slower than what we saw in qualifying because of the conditions, likely, and also because of the cold tyres as well. But let's have a look at the starting grid then. Ready for this third race, indeed, of the season. It is Ryan Merriam who takes pole with Brian Faluna alongside Tim Probert, David Van Roy, Jeremy Cheney and Hayden Young rounding out the top six, all of whom are pro drivers, of course. The Pro-Ams led by Brad Tidwell, head of Alexander Claudio, with Billy Backer and James Hillerick rounding out the top 10. Brian Dikowski and Cody Bont are then on row 6. Adam Hansen and Justin Dusface is on row 7, head of Quentin Price, and then John Gardner, who's on pole in the AMs. It's Brett Basu and Jeff Adkins in 18th place. Heath Ollinger and Tom Bryce running up top 20. Bryce is quite a long way down for him. Dan Florex 21st at Apono Hanno, with Michael Vester and Julian Race sharing row 12, head of Jim Sawyer and Scott Carlson. Peter Castelline, who rounds out those who set times. Bradley Loving sneaks in at the very end. He didn't qualify. He'll start from the back. And Nicholas Marshall will have to start from the back as well, since his only lap in qualifying was a failed attempt to make a lap. So we don't know what that was all about, but he will start from the back as well. These drivers pull away. It does not. It does not seem to be raining anymore.
No, but it is still very lightly wet. So we'll keep an eye out and see how they get on. They seem to be all on dries, which is either going to be a really amazing move or a drastically bad one. So which way round do you think this is going to go?
I mean, in iRacing, you can get away with there being a lot of spray and still putting the dry tyres on. So the fact that we're not actually seeing any spray here, I know they're going at a reduced speed under safety car, but the fact we're not seeing any spray at all, and I can't see any water around, you can, when they run off the circuit or run off the racing line at slightly higher speed, you can see them kick up a little bit of water. You might be able to see it here, but you know, it's really minimal if there is any. So yeah, the wet tyres would be catastrophic, I think, in these conditions.
Yeah, I think you might be right. I think it is basically just a dry running race. Jump on board with Ryan Merriam, your pole man, of course. Popped it in right at the end. Stunning lap from Ryan there as they're on their run round through Torre Vip and up into Sampson at the moment here as well. What do you think is going to happen? Who's going to come out on top, do you reckon?
It's yes, it's hard to look past Faluna, I guess, this season. He's leading the championship, won last week at the Bend. Clearly enjoyed it, actually. But you know, I know Merriam put that great lap in throughout qualifying, but you know, only just finished in the bottom half of the bottom end of the top 10 in the opening race. Wasn't at the Bend last week, so yeah, I'd put my money on Faluna, to be honest. Even though it's Yeah, it wasn't pole for him, of course, in qualifying.
For Luna, really?
I think so, yeah.
I don't know. Probert Merriam. I think it's going to be... I would love to see Ryan keep it on the racetrack, but I know how difficult it is for this Porsche. So we'll have to find out how he handles it here and whether or not he's going to be able to successfully keep it on the racetrack.
So some real gaps being made, by the way, and being left as Faluna tries to accelerate and break into them. Never enjoy seeing people do that because it can cause a real concertina effect, and thankfully nobody's followed his ideas, but you really shouldn't be doing that. I don't think there actually are any rules against that in this series, but really you shouldn't do it because it can really cause big crashes further down the pack. But David Van Roy quite smartly is not following him in doing it, and you know, if everybody starts to do it, suddenly gets quite nasty. So yeah, they'll clean up now anyway, and just pack up in time for the restart, or the start indeed, the only start of the race. Be shocked if we have a safety car. We very, very, very rarely do in OGRL, although we have on one occasion from my memory. It's very, very rare. But let's see, it will be the start of the race, and then the pace car will just sit in pit lane for the rest of the day for this 55-minute race, as it will be here today. Merriam and Faluna on the front row, with Ryan Merriam in charge of the conditions here and in charge of the pole position. The spray's very light. Oh, Faluna! No, he's spun it immediately here. Why was he off to the side of the circuit there? I'm not sure. He's come back on the circuit and he's right in front of the pack. Oh, he's been avoided by everybody, I think. Just about. They all skipped past him. What was he doing there? Out on the painted surface on the right-hand side, on the red surface you can see there. He just got really loose and straight into the wall. That's the end of that for him. Probert, by the way, drops to 10th place as a result of that. Justin Dos Santos also drops down the field through turn 1. It is carnage off the start here, unfortunately, and Brian Faluna is down at the back.
What was he doing? What was he doing? We'll have a look back at that one. Tim Probert's also looked like he's just caused himself some drama, and he's off the side of the circuit as well. So the guys who we thought were going to be up there are now at the back. Dustin Dos Santos, Tim Probert, and Brian Faluna.
Yeah, and don't forget, this will of course havoc with the standings, because Brian Faluna was passed by loads of people. I think it believes as a result that Brian Faluna's on lap 2, which is obviously not true. So it's going to take some working out here, this starting field, because this starting order in a moment. I think when Faluna crosses the line either first time or second, it will fix itself, as down the inside goes Hayden Young. That is for 3rd place. He gets past Jeremy Cheney over the top of the hill there at turn 10.
This is going to be very much staying in your lane. I think that might have been some of his problem. It does look like there's still rooster tails coming out the back of the car. Oh, brother. Cheney nearly went in and hit Young then. But I got a funny feeling. We'll have a look back now and see what he got over to.
Goodness me, that was abrupt. Onto the front straight, and Brett Basil also drops down. This is Faluna coming to a stop after his spin. How he was avoided there by everybody is a mystery. What was he doing out there, though? I've got no idea. Unless he was already losing it when he was on the actual grey tarmac and he sort of went over to the left trying to gather it up. We need to see the cockpit really to find that out. But he would not have gone there on purpose, surely. Now, let's just see here. Does he? He literally accelerates over there. I've got no idea what he's doing. Probert did swipe him a little bit, I think, and whether that contributed to his subsequent problem, I'm not sure, but well avoided by everybody there.
Yeah, he could have been meteorically punted off into the shadow realm there, couldn't he? Let's be real about it. As we said, the timing tower will settle itself down once he realises Faluna is not where he is, and he's at the back end of the field. There's Probert trying to make his way through at this moment in time, and it's going to get very, very scrappy down this back end at the moment.
And Bradley Lovings is down here as well, by the way, so that's 3 pros all having to work their way through the field after their earlier problems. A look from Probert there down the inside of Jim Sawyer, who's up quite a few places, and he's been put off. Oh, he's off. He wasn't. There was no contact, but he just was a bit fooled there, and he's brought loads of gravel onto the circuit, of course, as well. So Probert up a place, Lovings next involved, and then it is Faluna. So they are all running in 18th, 19th and 20th place coming towards the end of lap 2.
That is absolutely bonkers, isn't it? Absolutely nuts. That he was literally pole position, second place behind Ryan Merriam, had an opportunity to pull away, and then just goes and chuffs it straight at the start of the race. I don't know what he was doing, unless he was playing with buttons or adjusting something he probably shouldn't have been doing. But either way, Brian Faluna down the back end of the field and has given himself a mammoth task to move forward.
He absolutely has. As Hayden Young looks down the inside of David Van Roy and can't get through. Now Faluna's about to cross the line. I'm hoping the order's going to fix itself as it happens. Yes, there we go. End of lap 2, and it's realised that he's in the order. So there you go, we can show you the order now because it is actually correct. And Ryan Merriam leads by nearly 2 seconds. Hayden Young's looking quick, but he is stuck behind Van Roy still, and the longer this battle goes on, the quicker the gap's going to go out, and it's already going out quite quickly.
Yeah, it is. It's going with 2.4 seconds at the moment. They're having a nice little battle. Cheney and Young in behind that. Young in as well. In that Porsche, sitting in behind Van Roy, and Merriam escaping up the road. There's something gone on down here because somebody has just gone plummeting to the back of the order, and I think it might be... Ooh.
Another one, and that is Bryce, that is, who's been tipped around by Lovings. Bryce, we've also seen Julian Race off the circuit. He's still dropping down the field. So much has been going on here in these slightly damp conditions. Not necessarily sure that that's what's catching these guys out, but it's just another one at the start of these races. There's Hanno. He would have lost it coming out of turn 4 there on the power. Very easy to do. Oh, and the McLaren spun right in front of him, actually.
He's on the curb. Do you know what? Oddly enough, I do wonder whether or not the track is very, very slippery for dries, but it's just not quite wet enough for wets.
It's definitely not wet enough for wets.
No.
Yeah.
But I do wonder whether it's just borderline too slippery for dries.
I'm not even sure if we had intermediate tyre options that would be the option at the moment, to be honest. I think they'd overheat. I think this is one of those conditions, and they're quite rare actually, but one of those conditions where you've just sort of got to deal with it really on dry conditions, knowing that none of the tyres really work very well, because this is one of those awkward in-between conditions. So we've just got to stick it out because it's not going to last very long. There's nearly 30 drivers out there making a clear racing line, and you know, on our racing it's quite good for clearing a racing line, whether it's with the gravel that is brought onto the circuit, of course, newly, but also the rain as well, with the water being cleared away from the racing line. I reckon it's pretty good for that. So you just got to sort of stick it out while this is happening, and wait for it to just get better. Be careful while it's still damp out there, and just adapt to the conditions lap by lap.
Yeah, and some people just haven't got that in them though. They haven't quite got that patience to mould around and sit there and think, right, I've just got to get this car towards this point in the racetrack. You know, they can see that it's drying, but you've still got to make sure that you can get the car home. And if you can't, well, you're going to be in trouble. And I think that's the thing at the moment. These people are in trouble. As you can see behind Claudio and Bill Backer having a battle for the Pro-Am lead.
That is... close. Backer was through for a moment, but Claudio keeps the position for the moment. Brian Faluna's been off again, by the way, further down the field. We've already seen what happened to Lovings, so that's why he's a little bit further back. But that group of 3 pros is now just Probo on his own, as Faluna's been pushing to try and catch up to those behind. He's already got some pretty bad front end damage. And there's the spin into the hairpin down there at turns 8. It is a difficult corner, and even Faluna's come unstuck to it now. Yeah,
but he did hit the curb on the way in. And that's what makes me wonder whether or not it's just that little bit wetter than it needs to be. Crazy start this morning, sister, and it is, definitely. I agree with you. Jeremy Cheney and Claudio Bill Backer. Whoa! Blimey. Claudio there with a big send on Cheney.
And through he goes as well. Don't forget that's a Pro-Am on a Pro. So not a pass that's not supposed to happen really, but these guys race on an overall positions basis. In fact, some of the guys sometimes don't actually know where they are in their own class, especially if you're not in the pro class. It's sometimes quite hard to work out. But that was a big move there from Claudio. But, you know, normally the pros get annoyed if a Pro-Am's getting involved and they're not as quick. as that pro, but Claudio's quicker than Cheney at the moment, so no complaints at all from anybody about that as he flies past and up into 4th place.
Yeah, did a great job from him, moved himself forward now. Cheney in behind, he's got Bill Backer climbing in. Dan Svorak has got his own little pack here, and right the way back to Mr. Dudkowski. He's got Quinton Price, Tim Probert, Bradley Tidwell and Adam Hansen in it. So this could be quite an interesting one to see how this plays out, especially with the likes of Tidwell, who's got Tim Probert tucked up. Oh, saying that, he did have it, and now he's gone through.
A bit late. Loving's Quentin Price, that is, coming steaming in as well on the inside of Tidwell, and Tidwell's now losing a pace to Dudkowski as well. They're all coming past him at the moment, side by side, and he's finally going to keep a place. There is Bradley Tidwell, but goodness me, that was looking bad for him for a moment there. I don't think he'll be too pleased with Price as well. I know that they do chat fairly often and practice together and so on, but Price just went steaming down the inside of Tidwell there and up into 12th place.
Yeah, Tidwell's going to have to go again. See if he can get into the back of Price, or get past the back of Price, I should say. Tim Probert is looking at making a way forward as well here, as he's battling away Adam Hansen in that BMW and Dan Svorak. Now, knowing how quick Probert is, I don't really believe that this is going to take overly long, but you never quite know.
Looking down the inside for Hansen. No, not quite. But yeah, Probert is the big one here. He can surely make his way through pretty quickly as he's on the inside at turn 4 already. Got to be careful with that. It's a treacherous corner, as we saw already for Pernod Hanno, who's actually out of this race already. Is our first retirement. But Hansen's got a good run on the exit, and so he stays ahead of Probert, but not for long. Probert down the inside, and he will be through. He is making light work of this field and doing a good job up into the top 10 already in this recovery. Yeah,
he is. He's doing a stunning job at the moment. It's Tim Probert making his way through after being, well, making a mistake and having his own little drama. Ooh, Svorak is off.
Watch for the stones. Where do they go? All over the racing line. Lovely. So that'll be oh dear, that'll be great for everybody in behind to pick up the pieces of. As I say, the racing line, it's quite good actually for clearing the stones off the racing line when there are people driving through there. But obviously, it does affect the drivers who have to do the clearing. As Cheney gets back past Claudio for 4th position, and Bill Backer closes back in as a result. There's the danger as a pro-am. You almost sort of think sometimes, well, might as well stay behind actually, even if I am quicker for the moment, because if they get back past me again, then Backer will, in this case, will get right onto the back of me and put me under pressure, maybe try and follow the driver ahead through. So that's the problem, the difficult situation when you're in the middle class, as they are in the Pro-Ams, and Claudio keeps 5th place for now, ahead of Bill Backer in that Mercedes.
Yeah, we'll find out how long this is going to last for. Of course, they've still got just under 45 minutes to go. This is Mr. Probert's drama. Contact. Oh, there was, I think.
So that's how he ended up so far down the field. There must have been contact, I would expect.
Yeah. Nice round by the Mercedes. Now the question was, it was James Hillerick who went and nudged him there, unfortunately, and then that put Probert all the way down, but he's battling his way forward once again. Heath Bollinger is putting Bradley Lovins under pressure further back, but Claudio is under attack from Bill Backer for the lead of the Pro-Ams.
Yeah, and that's been, oh, look at that, right round the outside for Backer. Surely that's too wide. It's just a corner that keeps narrowing there, and or tightening, I should say, as you go through it. And Claudio stays ahead, forces a little bit of defence on the way towards the next braking zone, but he is in 5th place nice and safely. Nearly 15 minutes gone, by the way, of this race, flying by already, but Ryan Merriam is leading the race by just over 3 seconds. Hayden Young is very much on his own. Then we've got battle for 3rd, Ben Roy Cheney, Claudio Backer, as we're watching here, and a number of other ones up and down the field as well. But a pretty lively opening 15 minutes to the race. Exactly what you'd expect from this circuit, and exactly what you expect from the start at this circuit.
Yeah, you can see there on him with Backer's car, he has got that rain, but it's just not, I don't know if that's rain or spray. I think it could be spray that he's getting hit with there, and not rain. Because Cheney's getting the same thing, but Van Roy, I don't know, he has got it going up his windscreen. Tough one.
Is that just the raindrops from the spray though being forced up the windscreen by the wind speed? Because it's not happening at low speed, but once it gets higher speed here, actually it's not happening at all now. So I wonder whether it's those raindrops that are effectively because they're going nearly 300 kilometers an hour at the end of these straights. I wonder whether it's just raindrops being forced up the windscreen, almost, you know, by wind pressure almost.
Yeah. It could possibly well be, to be honest with you, because as I say, we haven't actually seen it for the rest of the lap. So unless the front side of the circuit is a lot drier than the back side, the front side is a lot wetter than the back side. And you can see now we've just started seeing spray out the tyres again.
Nobody take that out of context, or do. Yes, it doesn't seem to be happening so much, other than on the front straight, to be honest. But you know, it'll be different for Cheney here. Certainly, Wilnut still need his wipers at times because there are some rooster tails still being created from the rear end of these GT3s on this slightly damp day in the south of Portugal. Over the line they go, and Van Roy is looking comfortable there in third place. Claudio less so in the background with Bill Bakker, but Bakker not quite close enough there either. As this race just settles down now, 15 minutes in, and Bakker goes through. In fact, as I say, settles. Claudio's gone off the circuit. Spoke far too soon there. He's gone off the circuit and allowed Bill Bakker into the lead.
Yeah, now the question is was there contact? Was this Claudio just getting it all wrong on his own? And that answers that question.
Didn't even hit the curb. Just
didn't hit nothing.
Around. You definitely want to avoid that inside sausage curb there at turn number 1, which is why you'd always bring it up. But yeah, that was no contact, just a spin for Claudio through turn 1. And again, shows how difficult these conditions are, I think, rather than anything else, because these GT3s generally don't spin round like that often. But you know, it doesn't look too bad, the weather conditions. Clearly it is still a little bit damp underfoot though because of the way they're behaving.
Yeah, Cheney got a little bit too close there to David Van Roy. I think the thing is, although we've got spray, I think they are able to drive the car in dries. But I've got a funny feeling that there could be a lot of standing residue on curbs and things like that. And that's why every now and then we might see them slip and slide. But yeah, this is a very weird weather make up, I suppose, on this track, because as you say, it doesn't, not raining as such, but it's not looking good.
See there again at high speed, David Van Roy, but he's not bothering with the wipers as Cheney in the background doesn't go down the inside. But watch this as he gets down to lower speed here, just disappears. And so I think it's just the wind pressure at high speed, to be honest, as Cheney has another look, but again can't go through. And again, it's not raining on the circuit, it's just damp from, it must have rained, I guess, lightly around the warm-up time and sort of in between, because Iverson obviously does carry session states over, must have sort of simulated a bit of rain in between sessions, in between the end of qualifying, which would have been yesterday, as it were, in the session, and today, which is when the race is.
Yeah, that's the thing, you can dictate when the weather, you want the weather to come in and you want what time it will be when you get to the race. So there's a lot of changes that you can make. If you select obviously realistic weather, it's whatever's going on at the racetrack, right? If you're going to select static, you could go and adjust it to whatever you want it to be. And I think that's why sometimes just clicking realistic does leave it completely open to chance of what weather you're going to get. And I kind of like that. I think that's a good way of doing it, because it doesn't allow everybody to be testing in dry, and then, you know, all of a sudden you're these rapid guys, when they get into the session it's wet and they're like, oh, actually, hold on, I haven't done no testing in the wet. So I think overall this could be an interesting mix, but as I said, with the fluctuation in weather, and it does look like it's just on the back right corner, I should say, as you're looking at the track map, where it is wet and coming down the start-finish straight.
Well, in the last couple of moments, by the way, Bill Backer has been off the road and lost the prime lead, but let's see if this changes here for third place between Ben Roy and Cheney. No, it's not going to. Cheney's being very cautious here, and he's not really making any moves. So let's see what happens to Backer. It's turn 4 again. Such a difficult corner. Inside curve is really deadly to begin with. There you go. Spins around. Does he grab the fence? Oh, only lightly. He'll be fine, but he has lost the lead as he scrapes along the fence one more time. He's lost that to Cody Bont. And James Hillerick's also gone past him, as well as Alexander Claudio, who's back to second.
Yeah, great job from all of these guys. And that's the thing, as long as you can capitalise on people's mistakes, right? And make sure that you're in and around that area when they make the mistakes, you can see the gains that you can get. The likes for Hillerick, the likes of Claudio, the likes of Probert, Cody Bont, all moved themselves up a position. Yes, we don't expect Tim Probert to stay there, but you never know. And at the moment, he's chasing down Cody Bont. Claudio is in there as well. And then further down in the arms, we've got John Gardner, who's having a nice little battle. Well, that was Heath Ollinger, is now Dan Svorak.
It's very busy down there. Must be a lap car that's involved. Who's that? Peter Castelline, maybe? Maybe Scott Carlson? Don't know. Carlson, right, second time. Yeah, just trying to stay out the way there in that McLaren as he's been put a lap down. Atkins just up the road. Jeff Atkins has found himself off track as well here. And oh dear, that's a slightly strange place to find yourself. Must have lost it on power out of turn 8.
Yeah, we'll have a look now and see what he got himself up to for Jeff. Through the right hander he goes. And then, yeah, I think you are right. He's either hit, yeah, he has, and then goes down the other side of the hill.
He's not hit the wall though. That camera angle made it look like he was going to fly into the arm coat, but nope. Oh, steady. Rejoining like that. There we go. It's a clear track. That's fine. And he will carry on with his day. But that's quite a costly spin actually. It's cost him a lot of time and a bit more than normal than what you'd see in a spin. But you don't even need to hit the curve really as you're accelerating out of turn 8 to have a spin. It's such an uphill, steep uphill there, and you're going over the crest so quickly that actually not quite on the power yet. It's in full. As you go over the top of the hill, that can really be a difficult thing to control. And Atkins there showing exactly that. He drops now to 21st place after that spin, but some battles remain throughout. This one, Cheney and Ben Roy still going, although Cheney is ahead now.
Yeah, he is, and Ben Roy's down into 4th place at the moment, and this is how he got past him. A run down into turn 1, of course.
Well, the battle, yeah, there you go, Cheney down the inside and through. Been so patient so far, so almost surprised to see him do that. Claudio Hillerick and Backer is the other battle to look out for. As most of those drivers who are actually coming through the field after trouble earlier on have done a lot of it. Probert has anyway. Lovings and Faluna have still got a little way to go yet, but they're not quite behind anybody just yet. They'll be behind these guys, I imagine, before the end. And again, for the second week in the first 3, Lovings is having to work his way through the field, a field he really should be ahead of, like he did at Mid-Ohio. He just didn't qualify very well at that first round of the season, and had to pick his way through the carnage. Yeah, he's doing it again here. He's having to get himself back through the field, although that's because he didn't qualify at all here. He didn't even try qualify here today.
Yeah, I think he turned up quite late into the session though, didn't he? And that was the thing for Bradley Lovins. I don't think he had time to be able to get a lap in that Lamborghini. Through the right-hander of Galp they go. And now onto that start-finish straight one more time, of course, and they get to go up and do it all again as we break it into the last 32 minutes. I think Lovins is a bit of a... I don't know if he got up late and couldn't get here in time to get practice in and then being able to get quali in, but... Or maybe he's just enjoying coming from the back.
Yeah, you know, it's a fun way to do it, come through the field like this. As Ollinger in the background has trouble. Well, he's just been passed by Justin Dospace, who went off at turn 1, lap 1. But Ollinger is our championship leader, of course, in the AM class. John Gardner is currently going to be vaulting ahead of him, though, at the end of today, as things stand, as we start to chat a little bit more about season standings and whatever. We're not even through the first part of the season, though. We're doing the same thing, although it's not a 24-week season like what we had in season 2. It is a longer season with 2 drop rounds per season section, if you like, through each 6-race section. So that's worth bearing in mind. You can miss 2 races as long as one's in the first half of the season, one's in the second half. You can get away with missing as many as 2 races here, and dropping 2 races in this series, of course.
Yeah, you know, this is a bane of contention, isn't it? The drop rounds, and whether or not people like them, whether or not they don't like them. For us, mathematically, they are an absolute pain in the bum to try and keep it track of. But for others, they quite enjoy it, especially coming through the months when everybody's away on holiday.
It's true, but you know, we've had good numbers so far this season. I don't think we're ever quite going to replicate Mid-Ohio, where I think we got 40, but nevertheless, because it's summer. But yeah, nevertheless, it's good to see. As Faluna and Lovings queue up behind Bride Dukowski here. As they get further through the field, it gets more and more difficult to make passes, and Lovings is going to try and just pass Faluna straight away here, or is he going to bump him down the straight? He's actually not trying to pull alongside him, and there goes Faluna down the inside. It's it's a late move as well from Lovings to follow. Dukowski in the end decides, well, it's probably better for me to let you both go anyway.
Yeah, absolutely. I think from Dukowski's point of view, it's very, very dangerous, him trying to hold on to these. I would have just let him go at the same time, to be honest, and seeing how to get on. Different class, of course. So for Dukowski, it's a Pro-Am, and the guys are pros in front. And if you haven't got really much hope of trying to stay with them, don't bother trying to fight.
Yeah. Probably best. I mean, he's also taking the bet that if it was later on the race, first of all, he would try and keep them behind because we're on an overall points basis, even if they're in different classes. But he's making the bet that in the next half an hour, these two are also going to pass most of his Pro-Am rivals, and he's probably right, Dukowski, to think that. You know, the gaps aren't very large here. The biggest one is from Tidwell up to Price. That's 4.5 seconds, and they've got 2.5 to make it to there. So it is going to take these two some time, but they're definitely quicker than the others, and they're going to pass most of the Pro-Am field, I would say, and so Dukowski won't really lose out.
You reckon?
I reckon so, yeah, pretty easily.
Okay. Well, I'll keep that in mind a little bit later on. Well, say a little bit. We've only broken into 29 minutes, mate, and they're not moving away from 12th and 13th. Yeah, and they've got 5.5 second gap up to Quentin Price. So we'll see how these all guys get on as we're going to be entering into pit stop cycles. Will be coming as well, don't forget.
Yep, through the middle of the race especially, we'll see those pit stops coming in. It's time for Faluna and Lovings, 45.3, 45.1 at 4. They're not quite as quick as maybe they could be. We'll see, but yeah, I reckon they'll catch the Pro-Ams anyway. Guys like here. And don't forget, these guys are going to start to fight again for second place, and Hansen's going to join as well, so it's all going to be one big group, and they're going to slow each other down. As Price has had his own incident actually here. So there's one place anyway, but Dukowski's got one too, and it's turn 4 again. So difficult on the power here, especially if you're on the inside curb, and there it is again.
Oh, don't roll, don't roll. Hold your brakes. Oh, get it round. Blimey, there we go. Did look a bit of a mission for Quentin Price to get that back on track, but he's now we're on board with Hillarick, and she's got Bakker and Claudio in front. Battle for the Pro-Ams, of course, Lovings and Faluna. Now, I do wonder whether or not Lovings is not having a go at Faluna, because he knows that he's going to be able to make him pull himself forward.
Yeah. I think he realises he might be helpful to him here. Just depends out of these two which they actually think is going to be quicker, and which is the quicker way round to do it. They've got to definitely help each other, and they can't afford to actually race one another, but they've got to think of which way round is best, as that's quite wide from Faluna there. Lovings says, well, if you're going to leave an open door like that, then I'm going to walk through it, and now they'll try and leave it this way round, I guess.
Yeah, who do you think, honestly, is the quickest between these two? Who do you think should be at the front of the pack?
Before that, I would have said Faluna, but he's not looking so sharp at the moment.
Yeah, I kind of agree with you. I think Faluna may be a little bit quicker than Lovings, but as you said, he's still carrying damage, isn't he, off that machine? You can see it there on the front. So I wonder if that damage is affecting him in general. You know what I mean? So he's not able to sort of carry the speed through.
I can't remember, by the way, where he picked that up from, first of all. But probably
you see it at the wall right at the beginning.
Oh, of course, yeah. Of course, smashing the wall at the very beginning he would have done. Yeah, of course. Yeah, completely forgot about that. But on the other hand, if that was true, surely he would have pitted. We're over halfway now. He surely would have pitted by now.
Well, you would have thought so, wouldn't you? But, you know, maybe he feels he doesn't have to pit yet.
That makes me inclined to believe that maybe it's not affecting him very much. He just doesn't have the speed. Because after all, I'm only basing that off qualifying times, and we don't have a Bradley Lovings qualifying time because he wasn't there. So maybe Lovings is legitimately quicker than Faluna, and he would have been challenging Merriam for pole here today if he was there.
Maybe, but then it's just going to find out how far up Lovings is going to get. You know, he's got 2 seconds to Tidwell. There's Tidwell there. Of course, Tidwell has his own problems. Jeff Atkins has also had a little bit of drama, but then further up from these, you know, from Lovins to, say, Alexander Claudio is nearly 14 seconds. That's a lot for him to try and make up. However, one man that is not going to be making it up here is Mr. Scott Carlson. Oh, where are you going? Oh, bro.
Wasn't the line.
No. That's definitely not how to get around the racetrack. But Heath Hollinger is having a battle here with the Mustang of Vesta for second place in the AM. So great job from them.
Steaming down the inside, and Hollinger will go for a cutback into turn 3, but no. Hollinger currently 4 points and 4 places behind John Gardner, who will take the championship lead away from in the AM class as things stand. I believe Hollinger actually won season 2, didn't he? I can't remember now, but he was certainly up there by the end of season 2. I guess Gardner was as well, Sawyer as well. Jim Sawyer was leading for a long time in season 2, which is really the most recent comparable season to this one. We did have season 3, of course, of the Coffee Cup, but it was only 6 rounds and it had LMP2s in it as well, which doesn't really make it any relevance to this series here, which is back to the old style, to what we had in season 2. This, by the way, doesn't even bring us to the end of 2025. We'll have, we might even have something else coming up yet before the end of the year. If it's only might only be short, but season 4 might not be the end of it yet. 2025.
No, they've gone back, which is quite nice, to their roots. You know, we were back at the beginning when this all started out, and these guys were literally, you know, 30, 40 odd car plus grids. And then, of course, you know, we changed it. Dudkowski's had some form of drama, actually. Give me 2 seconds. And then it changed for the LMP2s as well, and then it kind of petered off. But this is sort of bringing it back to what everybody knows the OGRL on a Sunday is, as Dudkowski just takes that Corvette for a drive through the sand.
And he comes into pit lane as well. Not a bad idea, as side by side in towards turn number 1 goes Justin Dusface through on John Gardner, who loses a place as the AM leader. Dusface spun on the opening lap into turn 1, and so he's had a lot of work to do from the word go pretty much here today. First pit stops are starting to happen now, though. Less than 24 minutes to go in the race, over 30 minutes gone, and Faluna is one of those. Surely he's got to take his faster pair anyway, alongside the fuel that obviously you need to make it to the end.
Yeah, which is what he did do. It's not the front of his car no longer looked like he'd been hit by a bus, so he definitely did take his fast pair. Claudio still leading away from Bakker. However, Bakker is not too far away from him here, and does look like he's putting Claudio under pressure through the left-hander, now coming into the right-hander at the top of the hill of Sagres before they go running down over through Galp. And we'll have a look on board. You can see now getting close to the right-hand side, just keeping a little bit, there you go, and then down the other side and hoping your car sticks as you go up over the hill.
And indeed, he's not going to go up the hill on the racetrack. He'll go through the pit lane. Oh, instead, steady on. That was quite close to speeding if it wasn't for Bill Bakker. Not sure he's quite found the speed limit yet. Whether he's got the limiter attached or not, I don't know. But he makes his way down pit lane now and into the boxes. There is Hansen, who gains a place. He's in 9th now. And these guys, of course, will be able to run for a little bit longer before they have to come into pit lane, of course. 60% fuel tanks, by the way, allowed in this series. So around a circuit like this, they should be able to go past 35 minutes, which is only in 2 minutes' time. Not sure how long they'll be able to go, but they should be able to do the end of this one, lap 19. Then they should be able to at least do one more. which will be 20 laps, and after that we'll wait and see. But 60% fuel limit means you are required to make a pit stop at some point in 55 minutes.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd be interested to see how much longer Ryan Merriam can go for. He's got a 5-second gap here. I wonder if he's been fuel saving to be able to go that long. Whether or not he's going to be able to manage it. It doesn't go into pit lane. Nope. Through he goes again here for Ryan Merriam. So, yeah, I'd be interested to see how long he goes before the likes of Hayden Young dive in behind him.
5 seconds for Merriam. Looking good so far for him. As just a lower part of the top 10 finish at the opening round at Mid-Ohio. And he didn't do the Benz race, but he's leading this one at the moment. Cody Bont comes in for the lead of the Pro-Am class. Whereas previous leader got to, or was it Cody Bont, I guess, who's just come in now. So of those Pro-Ams, actually, who's come in already, obviously Brian Dukowski. I thought Quentin Price has actually been in, but he's just obviously slipped back after that incident. So, yeah, not too many challenges to Bont at the moment. He's going to come out the pit lane pretty comfortably. I mean, these guys haven't stopped yet. They're only just going to squeak by before he exits pit lane, or at least before he finishes his service. Quentin Price in the background do the same as well. So Bont's in a good position here. Yeah,
I think he did that. He made that from the beginning, didn't he, for Cody Bont? He managed to basically keep the car on track, and he managed to avoid the Faluna wreck, should we say, that was sent cars scattering across the racetrack, and he's now sitting down 8th in class. But as you say, the likes of Claudio, Hillerick, Hansen, Tidwell, Sporak, Dos Face, none of them are pitted. So at the moment, it should be Cody Bonte here, who should come out in front of these groups.
Into the lead for, into the pits for the race leader, Brian Merriam. I said they'd be able to do at least 20 laps. It looks like that might actually be the limit, but not for Cheney. He carries on. Hayden Young decided to come in, though, with just less than 20 minutes to go. Expect about a third of a tank to go in here, so about, what would that be, 13 seconds, 14 seconds? Something like that. So far, they've needed just a little bit more fuel than that, so 15 seconds, the shortest from Brian Faluna. But only Merriam and Young in. And I can't think of any other reason for Merriam coming in other than the fact he's run out of fuel, because there's no tactical justification for the race leader to come in early, unless he saw a load of traffic in front and thought, I'm better off in pit lane.
Yeah, that could be the option, of course. He's just come out at the same time here. Stop time 15.5. Bradley Tidwell 15.10 in behind that. So nice little stop for, or I should say Hayden Merriam, sorry, 15.10. And then Hansen is there as well. Lovins is in, Dos Face, Gardner. So lots of swapping about at the moment, but it is going to be down where this man is going to be able to put this Porsche for the Pro-Am victory.
Hello. That's very wide indeed from Julian Race, I think that is. Indeed it is. He just makes his way over the line there in 26th place and is driving a bit erratically in front of Cody Bont, who's taking more positions after those pit stops. Now through the first few corners, and he's going to have to negotiate a bit more traffic here in a moment. But after that, it's clean air, and he will hope that all of the other Pro-Ams come out behind him, which I think they will do. Currently led by Alexander Claudio, with James Hillerick not far behind. And Bill Backer was with them before, but Backer's lost a lot of time around. 57 seconds in the pit box. I said his pit lane entry was very fast, and unfortunately he was speeding.
Yeah, I think that basically just sums up his evening, especially when it's a 1 minute 30 lap time. You know what I mean? You know full well he's had 40 seconds hanging on, and that's why he's there. Luna going in with Lovins. These guys continue to fight. This is Lovins trying to take the position away from Faluna.
The fuel limit surely now has been reached as the top 5 are all into pit lane. Expect Tidwell to do the same as well, but yeah, these two positions have reversed, because Faluna, don't forget, lost that place to Lovins not so long before the pit stops. He gained, though, a second and a quarter in pit stop times. Faluna, if he's put enough fuel in, he's calculated this a lot better than the rest of the field, because his pit stop is the shortest, bar a few exceptions. Adam Hansen has gone quicker than him. Same for Hayden Young. And David Van Roy, who's just made his way out now, but nobody else has gone quicker than Faluna, and not of those who are ahead of him anyway. So he seems to have really calculated that very well compared to Lovings, who's got a second or so extra added on there. He won't run out of fuel, Lovings, definitely, but he has lost time.
Yeah, and it does make a little bit of a difference as well. And I don't really know how big a difference, but you're obviously sticking in more fuel because you're in the pit lane for that second longer. But for now, I think it's really going to just have to play out and see where and when these guys come out. Heath Hollinger's not pitted. Cody Bont is back to the top of the Pro-Ams once again after everybody else has been in their pit lane. So great job from Cody Bont. And then we've got to give a shout out to Heath Hollinger, who is 5th overall at this moment in time, first in the AMs and sitting in where he is at the moment. But the question is, obviously, where will he be when he comes out after his pit stop?
Yeah. That is the big question here. So there is Heath Hollinger still going. And further down, Brian Faluna just sneaks out ahead of Alexander Claudio, who did 26 seconds in the box that time round. Bradley Loving's now just behind him as well as Adam Hansen as well. I'm not sure what Claudio's decided to do there in the pit stops, but it's noticeably 10 seconds longer than it should have been. Yeah,
I'm not quite sure why we would need to be doing that, to be honest. Change tyres? Maybe?
Change tyres would take you 20. It's a bit too long still.
I can't quite work that out.
Maybe.
But I think it could be whether or not it's changing tyres. Lovings and Claudio now next to each other. Loving's going to fight for the inside line. Claudio's going to be there, of course, on their way round Sagres. And Bradley Lovings does manage to hold on to the position, but he has got Claudio pushing right up behind him.
Hansen on the inside as well. It's not quite able to. Oh, there's a bit wet still out there, isn't it? A little bit of spray being kicked up that we've not really seen very much of. It has been noticeable the incidents going down a little bit. Certainly solo spin incidents have been happening a bit less because of the less damp conditions. The racing line now pretty much clean, but as we saw from Hansen there, when you go out wide, it is still a little bit wet.
Still got that dampness about it, I think, and that's what's mostly dry now in the weather. And we're mostly dry. But there are still damp bits on the circuit, as you've seen when some of them damp out. So we've got to be a little bit more careful. But Claudio and Hansen continue to fight in their BM and Corvette respectively. And Darkowski down in 17th, fighting his way back through, of course, in that Corvette.
Well, it's the battle for 10th, but surely not for too much longer. Lovings is going to get away from these guys pretty quickly here, in the same way that Faluna has. And it will leave Claudio and Hansen to fight amongst themselves. The top three will be Bont, Hillerick and Tidwell, by the looks of it, in the Pro-Am class. And further down, Justin Dusvace is still trying to work his way back through the Pro-Am class. Now into 14th, but this is a good recovery from him after the opening lap incident. Dan Svorak is next on his list as they go over the top of the hill, back down the other side.
Yeah, great job from Svorak and DeVace. And Dosface trying to get up in that Ferrari past that BMW. Obviously, we saw Svorak make a mistake earlier on as well, end up through the gravel trap. So he's now got Dosface pressurising him here. The middle pack from about 11th down to about 17 are all sort of not that far away from each other and are all having their own little battles, of course. And you see Adam Hansen is with Claudio looking up the inside. Is he going to get that done? No. So unfortunately for Adam Hansen, he's going to have to sit there one more time. Dosface in behind that. And then we've got Dudkowski, who should be coming into picture just very shortly.
That's going to be an easier pass for Dudkowski to make, I think, because Gardner will definitely just want to win the race rather than anything else. If Gardner finishes only one position ahead of Hollinger, of course, those two will be tied on points going into the next race, which, as I say, is Belleau next week. Only a point between them as it stands, and they would start to run away a little. Well, not run away, but they would start to just edge ahead of the rest in the championship. And there goes Dudkowski past Gardner as these guys negotiate a McLaren lapped car. Gardner now only one position in front of Heath Hollinger, and so there you go. It would be a tie in the AM standings as it stands.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a nice little battle. I do like the AM category. They're all very, very, very close on pace, and I think that could be probably maybe the only category that we see go straight down to the end of the season. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that one pans out here and whether or not they do end up staying close together. But I just want to see what the likes of JT, how's he going to get along? Because obviously he had his incident and he's got to look at it and recovering to make his way back through. Cody Bont, is he going to be able to hold on to the Pro-Ams when he's got a long way. He's got 4 seconds back to Hillerick, and well, Ryan Merriam is just absolutely motoring out in front, 9 seconds ahead at the moment.
Faluna gets past Tidwell for 8th place overall. These overall points are being swept up now by Faluna and by Lovings as well, though Lovings still can't quite get rid of those behind him. This is the traffic for Merriam that he's having to deal with. One of the McLarens runs wide and will gain some time. Is that, I don't know. It's either Sawyer or Adkins, isn't it? Might be Adkins.
Sawyer.
Nope. Damn it. 50-50, went the wrong way. Jim Sawyer was 22nd. So that's 4th place in the AM class, or being lapped. Now, I think he'll be the last driver to be lapped legitimately because he's 20 seconds behind the next car, but even so. Side by side, meantime, between Svorak and Dos Face, who is, trying to get past, but that's a good bit of defending from Svorak down towards turn 5. You don't often prevail if you start the braking zone on the outside, but he did that time round.
Yeah, great job from Svorak there as well. Got it planted on the curbing on the inside, on the apex, and now Dos Face got to find another way through as they're going to run through Craig Jones and up into Sagres, up through the right-hander once they get through this left, of course. This is an opportunity, but Dos Face has got to be a lot closer.
He's surely going to manage this, though, in the next 10 minutes. If Svorak holds on all throughout here, it'd be an incredible job. Dos Face as well has got to take his time with this, not get involved in an incident, because this will be his last overtake of the race. It's legitimate anyway. He's not going to catch 9 seconds in nearly 10 minutes here, I wouldn't have thought, on Adam Hansen. But I suppose you never know. But he can afford to take his time here, can Dos Face. Something he's not really done much of so far today, because of the urgency required, but now it's less urgent. They come onto the front straight. Brett Basil has been off the road towards turn 1, where we're heading there with Dos Face and Svorak. It's the outside curve this time round, where Basil goes into a spin in towards turn 1, and Dos Face wasn't close enough, it turns out.
No, didn't quite get the gap down below that 2.5 tenth mark. He has now, but he didn't quite get it on the run down as a straightaway, unfortunately, for Svorak and Dos Face, as they're continuing to fight it out on lap 26 with just under...
They're both off into a spin, and they are both into the fence. Lovings takes Price takes 2 places, and in the background, Dukowski was that maybe, who went for that slide. What may have been a lap car, but they both find the wall. Svorak and Dos Face lightly clipping the inside curb. Dos Face certainly did, but look at that, they're both on the power, trying to push it. Svorak trying to push to try and stay ahead of Dos Face as much as possible, and Dos Face pushing to try to catch him. Was it it's in front of Dukowski, one of the McLarens, I think a lap down, going off into a spin. But anyway, that's a very similar incident. 3 cars out of 4 going for that same spin.
It's bizarre. 1, 2, then the car in front, which I think is Castelline. 3. Oh my God. All in the space of a few seconds.
Seen too much of Tom Bryce yet, but he's now in front of Bakker. These two, 18th and 19th, are probably a bit further down than where they would have expected to be. Maybe where they deserve to be here today, battling over 18th and 19th, but that's where they found themselves. And they're just not far behind Heath Ollinger as well. If these two get past Ollinger, he won't be best pleased, because that will cost him points in the championship, of course, to Gardner. At the moment, they'd be tied, and that would give Gardner the advantage if these two were to get past Ollinger. They might fight amongst themselves, though.
Yeah, I don't think these guys are going to be sitting back thinking, oh yeah, I'm going to relax and let them get... Oh, he's up, he lost his nose. Well, he did lose his nose. Oh,
In retaliation, he dives down the inside. and Backer is going to wait. He shoulder barges Bryce there into turn 3, and Backer has to wait. Ollinger will be spared.
He will be now. Lucky man. That was nuts. I don't know why he dived from that far away.
No.
It was just
well, I guess
no need for it, was there, really, from Bill Backer? But he did it anyway. So there he goes now, as he's chasing down once more Tom Bryce. I want to go up here a minute, because this gap had come down. Had dropped down below half a second.
Still close-ish. I'm not sure why, but Cheney and Young are suddenly a lot closer than what they were before. Young has done some catching late on. Or was it Cheney who's got past Young, maybe? Can't remember which way round they are now, but anyway, they're quite close at the moment. And it is the closest battle on the circuit with 6 minutes to go.
I can safely say it is, yes. Everybody else is fairly spread out. You can see on the left-hand side there as well. I think, however, Claudio is in...
It's disconnected, I think.
Yeah, he's out now. So unfortunately for Claudio, he is out. And Cheney's just opened up back out a second. But Dudkowski's, Bryce's situation with Backer, as they've all just started coming down back together again.
Well, Dudkowski's just had an incident somewhere because he's dropped down the field quite quickly and lost a few seconds. So, not sure where that might have happened. Bryce and Backer continue for 17th place after effectively having just a bit of a pause for a moment. They're now back racing all over again. Just over 5 minutes to go, and yeah, don't know what happened to Dudkowski, but oh, Backer, big snap over turn 4, and he'll be pleased that wall's not too close because he snapped straight into the gravel trap there.
Bill. How many more times? Oh. It shouldn't be a hard corner.
What do you mean it shouldn't be a hard corner?
It shouldn't technically be a hard corner.
It's uphill, off camber, can't see.
Yeah, but I understand that. But this is obviously he was in a little bit early here, so we know about that one. I'm going to go down here. So it is off-hill, yeah, but he's already unsettled, lived, let the car settle there, and unfortunately he just didn't. It's Sheens in Brands Hatch. Can't see, off camber, uphill, go over the top, roll, let the car settle, then accelerate.
So slightly slower speed corner, this one.
Yeah.
And a bit tighter, I would say. But yeah, I think it's easy for us to say all that while we're here. I think the way that Mercedes looks like it's been driven, I mean, obviously we haven't watched Bill Backer on board all day because that would be weird. But, you know, I think what that little bit of on board there said to me was that he's actually been sort of slightly correct. Oh dear, it's another spin from McLaren. Castelline, is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, just in front of these guys, and they both have to run wide to try and stay out of his way. And he will now get going. Yeah, there's Bryce. He will also pass. The way that Backer looked like he was going through there, it looked like he'd been just, you know, correcting a very slight bit of oversteer every time, just a little bit of correction every time, and that time round it just got away from him in the sense of, you know, he let it go a little bit too far, had to correct a little bit more, and then as the car found grip again, it snapped the other way. I get the feeling he's done something very similar every lap, but that's the one that just got away from him.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think at the end of the day, he just needed to be a little bit earlier on getting hold of that steering wheel, and maybe even try just a little bit of lifting at the top, or not lifting, but, you know, just rising the accelerator to let the car settle down as well. Go Hayden, by the way, it's his mum, Lo, just to help you this week. Oh, thanks, man. Okay. As Ryan Merriam leads the way as well, which I think is going to be, might be one and one more, actually.
2 to go, I would say. Yeah. Down the inside, meantime, for Brian Faluna. My prediction about him getting past all the primes is not quite going to come true, but he is going to get past all but one as he dispatches of James Hillerick now. And for whatever reason, Lovings has not been able to follow him. Maybe you were right about the damage, that really was holding back Faluna. In that case, I still don't understand why he didn't pit as the earliest opportunity to get that fast repair and get the fuel on board. I know he would have been heavier in more traffic, but he would have had the damage repaired. But other than that, I can't explain why Lovings is not able to stay with Faluna this time. The gap's grown to nearly 10 seconds in barely 20 minutes, really.
And that's the thing, I did say, I don't know if Lovins quite had the pace to get with Faluna today. I don't think he did, as Tidwell and him out on the racetrack. I just don't think he had it. And that's why he just couldn't get it. There doesn't seem to be anything wrong with his pit stop. 16.5 seconds, maybe a little bit long. Might be just carrying a little bit too much fuel, but other than that, I don't really see why he's so far back. Maybe that Lambo's just not cutting it for him this season.
Not sure. It's certainly not the car that he chooses all the time. As he runs now with Tidwell, who almost seems to have encouraged Lovings to actually pick this car. Now going to race side by side. These two will race each other respectfully, but they will race each other because there's no point not doing it, I suppose. 9 seconds behind them, 7.5 ahead. You might as well give it a fight amongst friends, and they will do here. Didn't see whether Merriam took the white flag or 2 to go, actually, last time round. Should have been looking, but in any case, Lovings and Tidwell might well have a couple more. Yeah, it will be one more to go. It'll be white flag this time. So, yeah, a little bit longer for Lovings and Tidwell to fight this one out. Tidwell keeps the place, and Hillerick will follow Faluna to the line, but I don't think he'll pass him to the line, unfortunately for him, as Merriam comes over the line for the white flag now.
Yeah, it will be the white flag this time around for Ryan Merriam. There you go, job done. Tidwell has got Loving past Tidwell there. Tim Probert's been off the racetrack. That's strange.
See what? Oh, Castelline still off the road. There's yeah, Probert, just a bit of a spin out of the third last corner. So nothing too bad there. As meanwhile, that battle settled. Lovings past Tidwell, and that will be that by the looks of things. Not too many fights from here to the finish. Merriam got about half a lap to go before he gets to the end of this race, and just ahead of Merriam here, actually, by the way. Dukowski not far behind Ollinger, and so Gardner and Ollinger, who look like they're going to be very close this season, could be separated by a car if Dukowski, because they're going to be afforded effectively an extra lap, because they're just about going to get on the lead lap. They're going to stay on the lead lap. They are going to battle it out on the very last lap here for that extra point.
Yeah, I think they are. And it'll be interesting to see. Ollinger wants to stay ahead of Dudkowski. He needs to stay ahead of Dudkowski. But we'll find out whether or not he's going to be able to hold him. Dudkowski's obviously a little bit quicker in that Corvette, different class, of course. But Ryan Merriam coming around the final corner.
Well, it's been a great drive from Merriam as he now works his way through the final corner. It's going to be Ryan Merriam who takes the victory here from the Algarve in the third round of the OGRL Coffee Cup for Season 4. Comfortably for Merriam, and he seals it with the fastest lap of the race as well. A great drive from him as Faluna and Hillerick do fight at the end. Hillerick with a great job here to challenge Brian Faluna. Don't forget, such a strong driver in qualifying Faluna, and throughout the race as well, as he tries to salvage 7th from his day. He keeps it in the end ahead of Hillerick, who I wasn't expecting to give him such a close race.
But it is all about Cody Bond, who's going to come along and take the Pro-Am victory, of course, here this evening, or this afternoon, we should say. So good job from Cody as he comes over the line. We did say earlier on he was in a very good position there, and he's come over the line and taken the victory.
And Hillerick did get him at the end there for Luna. So Van Roy slows, and he loses. Oh, Van Roy run out of fuel. Bont gets 5th, and Faluna runs out of fuel as well. So those two, with short pit stops, have cut it too fine. Ben Roy only spent 14.9 in the box. That was the second shortest. Tim Probert managed to do that amount of time and still make it home. And Faluna as well. Hansen meanwhile, gets past Tidwell to the line. He also slows down just Tidwell, so he must have run out. There's a lot of fuel being run out again here as these guys get towards the finish. John Gardner also seems to have been just being careful to make it to the end here as well. Heath Hollinger pushing him all the way to the very end of the day, but it looks like he's going to take the AM victory here tonight. It's John Gardner in 14th place overall who wins the AM class ahead of Heath Hollinger by less than a second. And those two will be tied on points after 3 rounds.
Well, who says the AMs don't put up a fight? Well, Gardner and Hollinger are going to make it very, very interesting coming in towards the end of this season. I'm looking forward to that specific battle. I think that's going to be a great little ding-dong we're going to have later on towards the middle of the season.
Absolutely. It's Ryan Merriam who wins here today, though, ahead of Jeremy Cheney and Hayden Young, who'll be on the podium. It is Tim Brubber and Cody Bont then running up top 5. Bont, of course, the Pram winner, just sneaking ahead of M. Roy at the end. James Hilarick finishes 7th ahead of Brian Faluna, with Bradley Lovings and Adam Hansen rounding out the top 10. Bradley Tidwell next ahead of Quentin Price, Justin Dusface. John Gardner wins in the AM class ahead of Heath Hollinger in second. Dukowski next, last driver on the lead lap. Tom Bryce and Brett Bazza were 1 lap down each, with Jim Sawyer and Jeff Adkins running up the top 20. Billy Backer, Julian Race and Michael Vester were also a lap down. Nicholas Marshall was 2 down with Scott Carlson. Peter Castelline, Alexander, 4 down for him, by the way. Claudio Svorak, 6 down the end. Pedro Hanno retired very early on at the end of the day. Let's have a chat to Ryan Merriam at the end of that one then, shall we? The race winner tonight from the Algarve. Congratulations, Ryan, on the victory. It was 9 seconds at the end, but I suspect you were expecting a closer race with Brian after qualifying. Just what was going through your head there off the start as you saw him spinning in front of the field behind you?
Hey, guys. Yeah, I wasn't expecting that. He must have either accelerated on a strip of paint or something. Maybe it's just the wet side. I'm not sure, but he got my luck from the first race, I guess. So that was sad to see. It would have probably been a good finish, good fight with him, but yeah, wasn't expecting any wet tracks either. So I'm glad that it worked out.
What were the conditions like early on in that race? Because there was a little bit of spray, but it wasn't, it was mostly dry according to what we had here. How was it actually to drive?
Yeah, well, my little weather thing said it was lightly wet, and then there's like mostly dry under that. So it was like it wasn't the lowest stage of wetness, but yeah, no spray. But you could not touch a curb or any paint. Which a lot of this track for me anyway is I use quite a bit of curbs, so I had to literally learn it on the fly and started to figure it out lap by lap. But I was, first half of that race, I really didn't use curbs at all. I just didn't trust it. I wasn't sure if the track was fine at towards last half of the race, but my luck, I would have hit a curb and it would have been still wet and I would have lost it all. So I had enough gap. I just kind of cruised around.
Well, congratulations on cruising to the victory here today. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
Oh, for sure. I got to shout out Mom. She's probably watching. You guys as well. Ewan, I absolutely loved your commentary on the Spot 24 final lap. That was epic. So wanted to tell you that. And as well, Jeremy Cheney, who got P2. This is me and him are teammates, I guess. And this is our first 1-2 of the coffee cup. So good for him.
Thanks very much. Congratulations again, Ryan, on the win in the Algarve today, and thanks for chatting to us as well.
Anytime, guys. Take it easy.
Thanks very much, Ryan Merriam. They're the winner of the overall race here today at Portimao. Behind him was Jeremy Cheney, who finished in second position today. Jeremy, welcome in. Congratulations on a second place finish. A little bit of pressure on you from Hayden Young towards the end there, but you managed to hold out to second place. What were those final 10 minutes or so like?
Yeah, thanks, guys. He was catching me. I kept out braking myself, and I kept looking, see him closing in, and we had a lap car come out of the pits and almost take out both of us, so that was scary. But good race today. Very pleased with the result.
First top 5 of the season as well after the first couple of rounds outside of it. Obviously weren't with us last week. But how was the opening part of the season gone for you compared to what you were expecting from season 4?
Great. I expect to be about a 5 to 6 on pace. This track I drive well with. I'm really happy and can't wait for Zolder. That's my bread and butter track. So, but the season's going well.
We'll look forward to seeing you there. That's an interesting, interesting choice. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
Yeah, my mom, my dad, and my buddy Ryan who won. We finally got a 1-2 for Aeronaut.
There you go. Congratulations on that, and thanks for chatting to us again, Jeremy.
Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks very much, Jeremy Cheney, the winner. Oh, sorry, second place, should say, overall today. Hayden Young finished in third in the end, and welcome in, Hayden. Good to have you with us. Congrats on third. Again, just like
Finally.
I was talking to Jeremy about, it was a close race between you and Jeremy for second place. Just tell us about those battles between the two of you.
Yeah, it was really good. Jeremy had really good pace, to be honest, and I lost it. I put I changed lefts, just lefts, because the lefts around here get a batter in, and I thought, I'll change the lefts, see what it does, and it didn't quite work out in the end. And then I looked up and I wasn't going to make it on fuel, so I had to fuel save, unfortunately. But yeah, I enjoyed that one. Enjoyed. The rain at the start sets it up, doesn't it? That was good.
Yeah, that's that was seems like a surprise to everybody. What was the car feeling like when you've changed only lefts? By the way, I find when in the new tyre model, when these tyres are always so cold nowadays, that changing just one side is a bit, makes the car balance go all over the place a bit.
It does a bit. It's for the first couple of laps, it's awful, and then I'll tell you the truth. I'm struggling with the new tyre model. Full stop. I don't know what it is. I'm just not slow, but I'm not fast, if you know what I mean. It's really strange, and when you change just lefts, it's for the first couple of laps, it's all over the place. But you make these gambles, and some work, some don't.
Absolutely. No, thanks very much for coming to have a chat with us as always. Hayden,
All right,
congrats on third. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out as always?
I'll guess my parents are watching, and I think Lottie's sat behind me, and them guys, you guys, amazing job. I'll probably rewatch this in a bit, and have a great day.
Thanks very much. Congrats again on third.
Cheers, mate. Thank you.
Thanks very much, Hayden Young there in third place overall. In the pro class as well, of course. Let's go down to pro-ams now. I should have really done the class winners first, but whatever. Cody Bont, the pro-am winner here today. Cody, welcome in and congratulations on winning the pro-am class here today. After qualifying just outside the top 10, you up 7, to get into the top 5 as well. Tell us how you're feeling at the end of that one.
Well, it was a little nerve-wracking because Hillerich was coming up pretty fast and I was losing grips. And I just didn't take no left tires, and he just was gaining about probably a half second to a second any given lap on me. So I was getting nervous there. I bet you if we had 2 more laps, I was gonna get past for sure.
How are the conditions out there after the slightly damp start to the race?
Oh, getting the tires warmed up were a real treat. That's for sure. I could not get them. And you got to push hard to get them, and then you're sliding all over. And as you guys seen, there's probably 10 cars that slid off right at the beginning. It was fun, nerve-wracking. I'm sweating, drenched right now, but it was fun.
Congratulations on taking the pro-am win. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
I'll give a shout out to Brett. He's always in here every week. I'm not sure where he finished in the AMS class, but it was a fun track. So, and it was a good race. So hopefully the OGRL guys can keep it up.
Third place in the AM class, by the way, for your information. Congratulations on the win in Pro-Am today, Cody, and thanks for chatting to us again.
Yes, sir. Thank you, guys.
Thanks very much, Cody Bont, the Pro-Am winner, just in front of Brian Faluna, who can now join us as well. Welcome in, Brian. Good to have you with us. And an 8th place finish for you, which is a good recovery after the start of the race. Just tell us what that start was like, because we were very puzzled, I've got to say, when we saw you off to the left-hand side and then spinning across the road in front of everybody.
You know how they say orange cats have like the one brain cell that they share between each other? So I have a large orange female tabby. And right as we got ready to start, she decided to paw at my left arm, and I pulled my wheel down. I hit the gas. I looked up. I was on the paint, and yeah, that was a ride. So word to the wise: don't have a cat next to you at the start of a race.
I've never heard of any sort of animal actually interfering in the race quite in that manner before.
Dude,
But,
I had a dog. I did a broadcast once, and we were at the Hockenheim Ring, and a dog jumped on this driver's lap coming down into Spitzgate hairpin, and he literally torpedoed 3/4 of the field out because he couldn't get the dog off.
nice.
Just to let you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, it's
It's real, man.
you know,
It's real.
cat interference. Usually my other cat likes to play fetch during the race, but nah. And the worst part was I fed them. They got food. They got water. So she was trying to get some attention.
Not an ideal time, but there you go. Just tell us about the run back through the field again as well. I thought you'd actually get back to 6th place or so at the end, but not quite there. But still a good run back through the field again. Tell us what it was like to be making all the overtakes at this circuit.
It wasn't too bad. I mean, first off, I got to apologize to Tim. I came right across his front bumper, probably scared the bejesus out of him. But yeah, coming through the field, even with the front end damage, I still had decent enough pace. I think I was able to get up to P10. I had a moment in Sector 2 because I was trying to stay with Tim, and then I had a moment, lost, probably 5 or 6 seconds, and then had to remake that time up. And then me and Bradley were close for a while. He was giving me a push on the front straight every other lap or so, and I was absolutely terrified that he was going to give me a little too much speed, and I was just going to go, to the moon going into T1. So it wasn't too bad. All in all, not a bad race, decent recovery. Apologies to the guys that ended up having to avoid me, or in particular Tim taking out his front end. So you win some, you lose some, but overall, not too bad.
Absolutely. Well, congratulations on your run back through the field, Brian. Is there anybody you'd like to shout out before we let you go?
Shout out to the wife, the Bradleys, you guys, love it here. I am not giving any treats to my cat today. She is in the jailhouse. She is straight to jail today because of that. But just shout out generally around. Appreciate it. Can't wait till next race.
Absolutely. We'll see you next week at Belle Isle. But for now, Brian, congrats on the run through the field again, and thanks for chatting to us.
Yep. See you later.
Thanks very much, Brian Fuller, the 8th place finisher from today's race in the OGRL Coffee Cup from round 3. Well, a damp start to this race, which to my surprise, actually, James, that the drivers weren't expecting today. Not sure why, whether it was a surprise, it wasn't in the forecast or whatever, but seemed to shake things up early on. A couple of big names dropping down the field. An unusual start, but generally action going on all the way throughout the hour there.
Yeah, there definitely was. It was a tough one for some people. Backwards and forwards. You saw Faluna up, Faluna down, Probert up, Probert down, and then they were trying to fight their way back through. Bill Backer was up, and he ended up going down. So there was lots of ups and downs in there, and people will look at this race as action packed, and it was. But there was also some mistakes from drivers that you wouldn't expect to be making mistakes, and obviously, poor O'Brien not being able to help his cat.
Very unusual way to have something go quite so wrong, but I'm sure it's happened before, and I'm sure it'll happen again to somebody else. So there we go. But it's Ryan Merriam's victory here at the Algarve here today. We'll be back next week, of course, with Belle Isle, the next round of the championship at round 4. So very much hope you can join us for that. Then I've been Ewan Leary alongside Jez Parfitt. Until we see you at that race next week, it's goodbye for now.
Thank you.